And I remember driving places where I'd be talking on the phone for like an hour, and like I'd arrive and go, I don't even know how I got there.
This is the Creator Podcast with Jeff and Gus, and I am Gus.
And I am Jeff.
Nailed it.
That was like anime opening.
Yeah, this is another one where it's just me and the JB. Jeff Brown's his full name. Yep, it's just the good old boys today. And next week we'll probably have a guest, and we got some lined up. Don't worry, folks. You know we're here for you, and you're here for us. So we're gonna start things off. You want to start with trying new things? Is that what you wanted to go with?
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about trying new things.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, and I know you're always trying new things. I try to try new things. It's like you always feel weird about, like, I don't know if I'm good at that. So and you sometimes you just never do it because you're like, I shouldn't do that. So
it's scary.
It can be. It can be very scary. It can be very, I don't know, just you don't believe in yourself maybe, or maybe you're just like, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't even want to do it. I'm really comfy. I'm really in my comfy zone. So we're gonna be talking about that a little bit. What's I mean, we probably talked about this before, but the last thing you did new was you snow sculpted out of the blue.
Yeah, I was trying something new, and
it
was a commitment too, because there was no going back. It was kind of like, try this new thing. So I committed myself fully to it. I said, I'm gonna go try it. And worst case was I sucked at it, and we didn't do a good job. So
yeah, that's true. I mean,
there wasn't too much of a risk because my flights and hotels and stuff were paid for. So what do I care?
It's still a risk of, though, like, I think embarrassment is just something that could weigh on you. Like, if you did it and you just realize, like, they're all counting on you and you chip away and you break off a whole face or something, because it's I don't know how hard it is to repair if you break off a face. I'm guessing you could just throw some snow on, but I don't know if that's how it works. But yeah, it'd probably make you feel terrible.
I guess I wouldn't have done it if I didn't have a certain level of confidence.
Yeah.
Because I've done pumpkin and I've done clay, so I have some idea of sculptural form. So if I was jumping into something completely, like if someone said, hey, like, we got one more person to join the Tour de France, do you want to jump on a bike and take off with us? I'd be, well, that's a little different. I don't have the training and stuff.
I almost feel like you'd do it, though, for the adventure if you had the right timeline and maybe it was paid. I could see you doing that.
Oh yeah, the Tour de France. I don't know. See, that's a feat of physical dexterity.
Well, maybe not that one, but maybe something less intense.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I mean, like, what is your threshold? Like, let's say, you got invited to be on Jimmy Fallon to cook lobster bisque on live TV. I mean, would you turn it down?
I probably would do it. I don't like cook. I don't like cooking at all. But
exactly,
I'd much rather you say something like, I have to train to be a superhero or something, like something really, but I get paid, like something really. That's something I've always like kind of fantasized about. I was like, oh, you have to train for 6 months for this role, But don't worry, we're gonna pay you a ton of money. Like, I always thought that must be awesome.
So that would be trying something new, being a superhero.
That and getting in like the best shape ever, But that's not really a good trying something new. I shouldn't say. I mean, because you can't really be a superhero. It's just acting. It's not. It'd be something adventurous, but
right. So it'd be like getting in some super shape, buff form or something. But it wouldn't be necessarily new for you. I mean, you have somewhat of an idea of how to train and work out and build muscle and stuff.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm interested. That would be fun to get paid to, like, really dedicate yourself. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, I guess there's some. So if something comes up where you have an opportunity to try something new, it probably comes down to a little bit of risk. How much risk is involved, and then what is your, I guess, skill level at that certain thing, and how confident are you?
And I think the reward factor is probably gonna. I mean, for me, that's tempting because, like, I just feel like time is valuable, and if you're going to dedicate yourself to something, there's got to be either the payoff is just proving to yourself you could do it, which I think that's probably what the case was for your snow. It was like the adventure and proving to yourself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or the reward of actual, I don't know. I mean that's also acknowledgement. You got an award, but I guess the other thing is money. Like you feel like, well, I gotta get the money, so you always feel like that's it's got to be there for to some degree. Like you probably wouldn't have done it if you had to pay for everything yourself at least, right?
I don't know. I mean, if I was able to, I probably would have done it. I think it was a nice factor that I didn't have to. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I guess it's what's it worth it to compete in the largest snow sculpting thing in the U.S.? Like, would I pay money to do it? Maybe.
Yeah.
um,
For me, I think the last thing I did, maybe entirely new, I think was a few years ago when I started writing and directing, um, and just getting more into that. And and now I'm not directing anything at the moment. It's been a little while, but I've done about 7 things, and I was really scared at first. Like I remember the feeling of, and like I so for my whole life I wanted to direct and write, but I was so like I don't know when or how. I never went to school for it. So it was an initial. I remember I was actually at the gym and I was thinking. I posted on some group. I was like I have a few different. I think I called them scripts, but they really weren't scripts. I didn't even know how to write a script, and I said. I think I might have mentioned like what I do besides this, and I was just like looking to have like a get together and see where we can go, kind of like that. And it was just really scary, but really fun. The whole thing was just like refreshing and so new. And I think you kind of ride a wave of almost like a high of when it's that new and there's new people and new territory. Did you feel that way just recently with the snow?
yeah, I think that's a big part of new things is this there's a whole brand new feeling to it, and so you're not stuck in a rut where you're doing the same thing over and over again, and trying something new kind of breaks the monotony of that.
Yeah.
When I first made that that shout out call to get people on board, it was definitely a scary process and but exciting at the same time. And I think that's the juice that kind of either you like that and you want to try new things, or you're so afraid of that you're just gonna step away and not even attempt to do anything out of your perfect days of the same thing that you always do.
Yeah, it seems like the thing that you're trying new is, do you think there's a difference if it's by your own choice or if somebody tries to make you do something new? Like for instance, let's say, so you talked about, oh well, I kind of want to do, movies and directing and stuff, so you kind of took the leap and that's something new. But what if, let's say somebody buys you gift certificates to take ice skating lessons?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's trying something new, but if
I, well, yeah, I think, well, one, and creative stuff I think is always going to be fun. I know you could be creative with anything, but I feel like ice skating is just something I know myself so good. There's just no way I'm gonna do it, and I know that could be closed minded to say something like that, but at the same time, you should probably know yourself when you're by your time you're 30. You should probably know yourself pretty damn good, right?
yeah, I guess. Because I keep thinking, like, what would a mom say? And they'd be like, well, how do you know you don't like it unless you try it? That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know though. I think you kind of know what you are. Like you know if you're an athlete or not. I think by the time you're 30, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
feats
that's
feats
all.
of physical dexterity. Yeah, I think there's a threshold there. Um,
Yeah, I think you just kind of know that. So I think maybe an athlete wouldn't want to try something creative at the same time.
yeah,
They
yeah,
might.
I guess it could be all just down to your personality, what things you want to try. I guess the main point is that if there's something that you want to do and it's new, but you think that you might enjoy it, is to just go for it and try it, as long as there's not some super high risk involved.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to break your leg ice skating and then fall in the lake and you're dead because you broke your leg and then you're stuck under the ice and you don't want to do that. That's dangerous. That's a
Right.
high risk. That's a high risk.
Right, but maybe if you paint only in acrylics, you
Yeah.
might think, I really like watercolor and I kind of want to try watercolor, but I'm just too afraid I won't be good at it. And it's kind of like, well, what's the risk? Risk reward. Risk is maybe, you spend some money on some watercolor paper or some watercolors and you don't have fun and you don't enjoy yourself. The reward is, hey, maybe you like it. Maybe you find a new medium.
Yeah. I think it's definitely worth, if you want to do it, go for it and play around and see what can happen. Because that's the kind of thing you might enjoy. You might not realize it for
Yeah.
sure.
I love
Yeah.
trying new stuff. Is there anything on your list of creative things that you want to get into? Just either haven't had the time to get into it, or might even be afraid to try it.
Um, you know, I guess slightly, because part of me
Mm,
shuts it down instantly, you know. But at the same time, it's something I've never really done, and there's an interest there. I think I would do it if the right opportunity presented itself. I think I would do that. It'd be fun to dive into a character rather than just be yourself on camera. Yeah, I think that could be a lot of fun. I'm trying to think what else. Like I've I had to do graffiti recently. I never did that, and I know that's so similar to what I do, but holding a spray can and getting your finger locked up, it was just a different experience. So that was that was kind of scary, but at the same time, it was because it's so permanent. You're like, here it is. It's huge. It's massive, and the funny thing is, the building that I did it on is just getting taken down. They're
it's
just
getting
destroying it.
demolished.
Yeah, yeah. Which supposedly when I did it, they're like, yeah, if it gets demolished, we're gonna sue, and you're gonna get like at least 250 grand. That's what they told me.
Oh yeah, did they write your check yet?
They're not gonna do it. I think the guy got paid off. The
Yeah.
guy who got me in, I think he got paid off because when I first talked to him about it, he's like, we got this. Like he was so confident about it. He goes, but he goes, you know what though? I don't think the building's gonna go down anyways. And I was like, okay, cool. And he's just, yeah. It was weird, but I tried it. It was something new, and I always wanted to do graffiti legally. The risk of graffiti is like getting arrested and all that. And I never wanted to do that once I had kids. I
Right,
didn't want
street
to.
art.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it and be like, well, gotta go to jail. Sorry, kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've kind of been in the same boat with that as well. Like I would love to start some kind of graffiti movement around town where, I'm putting up street art and nobody knows who it is. There's kind of like a cool like
yeah,
mystery behind that. As long as like nobody's getting hurt. And see, I always wanted to do it where it was like temporary kind of stuff. Um,
yeah.
like one time I painted the backs of a bunch of nails and I hammered the nails into the ground at a park and it made a picture. But then later I was like, oh, wow, that was probably bad because I just put a bunch of nails in the ground where people play and bike.
Yeah, like little kids running
But
falls and get
I
cut.
went back later and it was gone. I'm sure like the parks department was like, this is unsafe.
Yep.
So,
Now,
but I'd
now
like
they
to
got
do
you.
other things. Yeah. Now they got me, right? They're listening to the podcast and they know what I'm talking about. But I always
um,
there's have you ever heard of LED throwies?
LED throwies. No, I just know LED is. That's it.
Yeah, so LED
What's a
throwies.
throwy?
So you can buy like just a little LED bulb, but so what you do is you attach it to a watch battery and a magnet, and then you
Hmm.
can it'll light the light bulb because of the battery, and then the magnet is attached, and so you have a lit LED and you throw it up really really high onto something metal, and it'll stay lit for a while because of the watch battery. So you could find like I don't know, a metal bridge or like an overpass or something, and you could just cover it in a bunch of light bulbs.
You're giving
And
me an idea as you're talking about this. This is one of my ideas I've had for a long time. I guess you're making me think about it. That's all. Uh,
I'll take it.
um, Yeah, and this is probably not even a new idea, but in my head it is. I always thought they should make fireworks that could make a picture. You know what I mean? Like fireworks kind of suck. They've been the same thing for a long time. Don't you think it should be like like oh, and I'm gonna be done with it because I mentioned this last time, but there's Elvis. Like there there's Prince. Like you know what I mean? Whatever thing happened that year, you can be oh there's the Joker. Love that.
Yeah,
Aren't you surprised that we're not there yet?
I think China has some that do like a heart or like a heart with like an arrow through it or something, but you can't get detailed because it's complete chaos. There's no control over
Yeah.
the explosion and the direction and the distance in which things go out. I think if you want a picture in the sky, you're looking at you need a laser light show. I think.
Yeah, either that or drones.
Yeah, they do that now, right? So they did that, I think, Super Bowl halftime show or something like a couple years ago. They had all the drones flying and they form letters and stuff, which that's straightforward. They just program them to go in a certain position. But
Yeah.
fireworks are a little more chaotic. If you're trying to control fireworks, I think you need a new medium at that point.
I think that's possible though. I think there's something there. It's gonna happen. It's a market.
Yeah,
Fireworks,
maybe you would. Well, if you can come up with it, you'll be a millionaire because you need to be able
right?
to control the distance that things move away from the center of the explosion.
I almost feel like though, if that happened, like let's just say it happened next week and it's out there, I feel like it still would be really boring really fast for today's world. You know what I mean? For today's world, like I'm surprised people still care about fireworks, but I just feel like it'd be kind of boring. Like you'd be like, yeah, I don't care. Like
Yeah, I
like if
think
you're
you'd see one and you go, "Oh, that's really cool," and then that
it'd
was
be
it.
most yeah that it'd be most impressive the first time it's done. Like there's like a new president elected or MVP of Super Bowl or something. It's like their picture, like their face, like gonna be like, wow, and then it's gone. It's like 2 seconds. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how possible it is, but yeah, I agree. I think yeah, you would take it for granted. You would just be like, "Oh, cool, they can make fireworks into faces now." Next.
yeah, yeah. There's this one show that like it the Carbonaro effect. He's always doing these really creative magic tricks, and he's always messing with people's heads, and he's always like act like there's this weird technology. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
the show or not,
yeah,
but
I've seen it. It's funny.
yeah, and people don't even seem that blown away in a sense. They're like, oh, okay, now they do that. Now they got
Right.
that thing.
Yeah, they do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like people just accept like, oh, an app could change fruit into like dust into like real fruit or whatever kind of wacky thing
Yeah,
he does.
it's like, oh, these scientists, they're really making cool stuff now, but
And it's like they're doing it. I don't care. I'm just, like still I still gotta you know
yeah, that's
get my
interesting. Yeah,
dollar hamburger.
there's
Yeah,
true. There is still like this level of like I don't know, you just believe anything that like, oh yeah, science has come this far. That's where we're at.
yeah, and you don't even like what are you gonna do? And I think we have such an overwhelming amount of things like that today. Like every day, there's so much new shit coming out, like in stories and things that have happened. Every day, there's so much that I don't think any of it really makes a dent in anybody's life for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like when we were younger, I feel like, and I could be wrong on this with certain kids, but I feel like you can get so inspired by something, and then in today's world, the same thing can happen, but it doesn't even make a dent anywhere. It's just like, well, what? Oh, that happened today. Cool. I don't care.
Yeah, well, I guess we're also with the way information travels nowadays, like anything new, no matter how minuscule it is, anything new, you'll find out about it. And so there's a ton of these every single day. I mean, if you got your finger on the pulse, there's
Yeah.
stuff popping up. But
But what people do like is kind of dumb stuff and ridiculous stuff or just kind of funny stuff. I think people get excited about that still, which
yeah,
you know what I mean, weird meme entertainment and stuff like that, like weird, I don't know, little
yeah,
10-second videos or something.
But yeah, but it is all still transient. It's here for a minute and then it's gone. I feel like not much lasts anymore. Like there, I mean, there's some memes that like kind of go down in history and then they have a longevity to them. But for the
Yeah.
most part, like, if you're just browsing, I don't know, Imgur or Reddit or something, and you'll see a funny video or a funny, somebody falls and it's funny for a minute and then you forget about it, but it was there for that moment when it was like, had 10,000 likes or whatever it is. And
Yeah. It's interesting though. It's like hearing all that, it makes me think I'm so grateful that my main medium, like my main source of income is like I'm a basically like a painter, or sort of an illustrator or whatever, an artist, and that people are still interested in my art. Like that gets me happy. That's like we have so much stuff going on, and I could still at least come up with something and be like, okay, there you go. Like, is that and people are not just on to the next thing. I'm kind of grateful in that sense, because when you look at things like that, it almost overwhelms you. It's like, well, what the hell? What am I gonna do even?
yeah, well, I'm sure too that you're finding new fans every day. There's always at least some people that in a day come across your stuff and they've never seen it before and they're just blown away, like, holy crap, where has this been my whole life? Why has this been hidden from me? This speaks to me in so many ways. Like, you're getting those people. I mean, there's what, like 7 billion people in the world or something, and so the small
Yeah,
percentage of people that have seen your art is very low. So there's always a great chance that new people can see your art and say, holy crap, like, where has this been my whole life? This is
yeah.
amazing.
Which is good though, because I don't want to ever get outdated or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like some artists can get outdated, and some good artists throughout history, it's forever. It's just, and that's, I guess that's what I'm kind of going for, is just to have that forever kind of quality to whatever I bring, without thinking about it, just doing it and not going, what do they want? Like I try not to do that. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, well, it's like there's the really well-known Renaissance painters and stuff, Leonardo da Vinci and Monet, Manet, kind of all the ones that are in the art galleries, and then
Yeah,
a lot of
there's like,
modern artists aren't really in that boat, to say. Like, I couldn't name
no.
you too many modern painters,
Yeah,
and
there's a few that are almost household names, but they're really not household. I don't think there is a household artist of today. The closest one is like Banksy, and that, you know what I mean. But that's like
right. But
you,
he,
you're
he's known for his infamy, I would say, more than anything. The fact that he's unknown is kind of, or uh, mysterious or whatever. I
yeah.
think that plays into that, people
I know.
knowing him.
I'm realizing we talked about him before on the show, but but yeah, there's not like Mark Ryden. He's huge, but I don't think if you just knocked on somebody's door and goes, hey, Mark Ryden is. I don't think they know. I
Yeah,
think as artists, we know about him.
right. But if you ask them,
Um,
have you ever heard of Leonardo da Vinci? They would say, yeah. Or
prob,
have you ever heard of Michelangelo? They would
Turtle,
they would say,
Ninja Turtle.
I love Ninja Turtles.
They're great. I love them. Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Raphael and Donatello, the artists. I feel like they don't get as much. They were turtles too, but they don't.
I
Their work.
can't, but you say their names, and I can't even think of like a Donatello painting or a Raphael painting. Can you? I can't.
No, I
Nothing goes in
can't.
my head.
No, I can picture their faces because somebody did a funny series of
Wait, Leonardo da
art.
Vinci. I know da Vinci.
Yeah, yeah. So Michelangelo did the
Yeah.
statue of David,
Yeah.
uh, and so yeah, so they're pretty well known, but the other ones not so much. But even in art history class, I slept through most of art history class, not because it was mostly boring, but because I had that's the class I caught up on sleep.
Yeah.
Uh, but still, I hated it. I saw I saw not much use in it. I don't know. Maybe that's just a bad view of the world, but I was like, like, yeah, I know there's some old people, but
Well,
I'm interested
I
now.
blame the teacher on that. I mean, you were tired. You're tired. But I was thinking about this today because I was helping I was helping my daughter with her homework, and like she's learning about right before the Revolutionary War, and all the way it's worded, it's really boring. And I remember as a kid, I couldn't even obtain anything from it. It was just like, what is this? And now at 41, I'm able to like process it pretty good. Like I could kind of get it, but it's still really boring. And I think it all comes down to the teacher. If the teacher is a good storyteller, they
Hmm.
can get you really excited about art history or history in general, as long as they're a
Yeah.
really good storyteller, because it's how you can make things relatable to everybody's life today in a sense.
Yeah.
And I think if you could do it with artists, you'd be like, well, this guy, he was kind of crazy, and he couldn't get along with anybody. And so
Yeah.
what he did is he cut off his ear, but it wasn't him that cut it off. He got in a fight with this other artist. And I think that's actually the story with Van Gogh. I
Oh,
think
is
so.
it? I
Yeah,
thought he like cut it off and mailed it to his cousin because he was in love with her or something.
I think in my art history class,
I
he
don't
he
know.
told me, and this could be wrong too. Maybe he was just a good storyteller. He said something like they got in a fight. He got in a fight with this other artist, and during the fight, I think it was like a tool that they used to paint with. I think, and he got his ear cut off, and he gave it to a hooker. I heard, but
We'll have to fact check.
yeah, I don't
That's
know.
interesting.
It's kind of
Yeah.
tough
No,
to fact check too if you think about it. Like, you go to Wikipedia, and that's just put in by someone, and then I just wonder what percent of history is actually like not really the story, because there's always the other
yeah.
story.
That's a big philosophical question too about well, how do you know what's true and what's not? But I agree about art history and that if you have a good teacher, it'll make it fun. Because I still remember my best history teacher I ever had. His name was Mr. Sear. He was in a metal band called Sirius. It was pretty awesome. But so when we would learn about a new topic, he would have his boombox. He would
Yeah.
start playing a song, like, to get you pumped up about some new subject. And then he would like get into character and be like, the year was 1912
Oh
and the
wow.
British were doing this. And so he would like actually, get you into being excited about it. And it was really cool. And we even got to watch the Metallica video for One because I think it was about World War I and then like
Yeah.
a guy. So we were learning about World War I and stuff, and he liked metal, so he was like, "We're gonna watch Metallica."
No, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I think that makes a huge difference. And I get it. It's like they probably should teach that to teachers. They should probably say, hey, the actual most important thing is that you get this shit into kids' heads. So be a really good storyteller. If you could tell a story really well, and here's how you do it, uh, and also get a personality, and then these kids and actually care about what you're doing. If you don't care, leave right now. Like, I just think there's a lot of teachers that don't. They're just they're not in it. The pay's too low, and maybe the kids suck.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky because you want good teachers, but how can you make sure you get good teachers? I'm not sure, and you can't make sure your students are all the best students, especially like like low income and inner city like schools and stuff. It's if there's fights breaking out every day in your classroom, how can you teach?
Yeah, well, there's a movie about it, isn't there?
Dangerous Minds.
Yeah, I think that's the one that comes to mind.
Michelle
That's how you
Pfeiffer.
do it. That's how you do it. Yeah. Habadoo. Um, well, it leads me to dreams. That's what's one of the topics I wanted to talk about today. Um, to me, dreams are like, the actual thing of us dreaming to what you aspire and what your dreams of tomorrow are. I think it almost is the most important thing. I think in a sense of like purpose and how to get new ideas and how to go for something. I almost feel like it's just I don't know. I value it so much. When I was younger, I used to always ask everybody what their weirdest dreams were, or and I never really found that many people had interesting ones, but I was always obsessed with that. I don't know how you feel about actually dreaming and dreams.
Yeah, dreams are interesting because I've always thought of it as, and I don't know any of the science behind it. I think science is still kind of up in the air about it, but to me, it's kind of like your body requires sleep. It's just naturally. You have to sleep, you have to rest. So it's almost like the natural progression of, well, while your body's sleeping, what should your mind be doing? It has to be doing something. And so to me, it's almost cataloging kind of some of the things of the day. Because sometimes, like, if you watch a cartoon and somebody gets hit with a big mallet, maybe like in your dream, like somebody has a big mallet, and it's so sometimes there's things like that where during the day you talk about something or see something, and then it shows up in your dream. So part of it for me is it's like kind of cataloging things in your day of like, this is important or this needs to be thought about, but then also like kind of all of your primal kind of like thoughts and emotions of like different feelings and things kind of just getting mixed in with like kind of how you're doing, and then even thoughts of the future and thinking about like, oh, in the future I want to be able to do this. So then there is some of that predictive kind of stuff where you might dream about winning the Tour de France or something when you've got like a trip planned to France or whatever
Yeah.
it might be.
Well, I guess what's weird about it or interesting about it is like how I mean, you everybody heard the expression like, why don't you sleep on it at night? Why don't you sleep on it? And like I always do that whenever I have to make an important decision. It's not giving myself more time. It's actually to almost let my higher self connect with my, with not being awake and connecting with that side of myself and come up with an answer. I feel like it, and I know it's a technique used by other people in history. Like I know Einstein and Tesla, they were really big on their dreams, and it was how they got their ideas. Weird enough. So I just feel like it's something where we don't really pay enough attention to as society. We're just kind of like, fuck it, you're sleeping, who cares? But I feel like if we get in touch with that, there's so many answers we could find, and and there's always little things too, like how would you know that? Like how, you know what I mean? How would you process that in your dream? I don't know if you ever had a situation like that, but I know I had lots of those kind of things.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something, maybe it was last week on the podcast, about you have a dream, and then so you in the dream or someone in the dream comes up with this great idea, and you're like, wow, what a great idea, I could never come up with that. And then you wake up and you're like, wait, that was my idea. It couldn't have been anyone else's. It was in my head.
Yeah, right. I forgot I did say that last time. Yeah. So I think, I mean, and that's just one case of it, but there might even be other ones, like you ever have it happen where you're dreaming about something and then something loud happens and then it wakes you up, but it happened in the dream as well. And how did it know that was going to happen? You know what I'm talking about? Like maybe lightning will hit in reality, and at the same time you're running from something and like it explodes when the lightning goes off.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And it seems like it happens in real time, as if your brain was prepared for the lightning to strike. So it was setting up a scene or something where
Yeah.
like you're running across a bridge and it's about to break, and as soon as it breaks, the lightning strikes. So, but then I'm wondering too, is maybe there's just a delay or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting how sometimes it can mix with reality.
Well, it makes me think that time is three-dimensional. It's not real. And like when you're outside, when you're in that dream state, you're able to kind of connect with that three-dimensional time where it really doesn't exist. It's past, future, present. It's all at once, and I know that's been explained in other things, but I almost feel like you're tapping into something else like that. And I don't have the answer, but
yeah, well, it's interesting because I'm a science guy, so I look at it as if you are entering into some other time or dimension or something, what's the cutoff or threshold for basically you are sleeping or not sleeping? And there's things like REM, like rapid eye movement, that determine this, and there's all kinds of sleep studies and stuff that have been done. But I know that there's been books and things written on how to actively cause yourself to have lucid dreams. I don't know if you've seen this before.
Yeah, I've seen different things about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically like lucid dreams. Basically, you're in control of things are happening, and you're in control of it. So it's almost like you're, having a dream, but you can do whatever you want. And there's like these methods to be able to fall asleep, to be able to get into the state of lucid dreaming. But I'm wondering, to me, that's almost seems like it's cheating. So if there is some, supernatural thing or whatever, you fall asleep and then time does something, time dilation or whatever it is. If you try and go into it like manually or kind of cheating the system, it seems like it's almost like you're faking it out, or it's not gonna be real or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, today something weird happened. That's kind of why I brought up dreams. Is like I my alarm woke me up right as somebody was about to tell me something really important, and they said, "What do you want to know? Do you want to know why?" And as soon as they said why, when my alarm went off, and I really want to know why. I really want to know why. So what I did is I said, I'm just going to go back to bed and find out why. And that's something, and that's something normally I wouldn't feel confident in. You know what I mean? You feel like it's I can't go back there. So I experimented with this. I'm going to go back to bed and find out why. And I was able to find out why. And it was almost like I was still tapped into that, still pulled into that dream state in a sense. Now I don't know if my mind just came up with these answers on its own, or if it was able to like finish off things, but it made sense to me, and it was pretty powerful. I was like, what? I was like, either that's all in my head, or that's some pretty powerful stuff I never really thought about. It's pretty personal stuff, so I'm not sure if I should talk about it on here, but it was really fascinating, and it made me I feel like anyone listens like, well, fucking tell us.
No, no, no. That's the secrets for a reason. But
Yeah.
have you ever has you ever thought you had like the funniest thing ever or the best idea, and then like it's the funniest thing ever in your dream, and then you wake up and you think about it and you're like, wait, that was stupid. That was that was so stupid.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I say yeah, but I also I get so like I believe in everything to the fullest capacity, whether it's someone and their idea or something I was given in a dream that people might just write off. I'll believe in that. And you ever take that thing and you kind of fill in the holes because there's holes when you explain it. You're like, but so you just fill it in what feels natural. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
things, because things don't really make that much sense sometimes. So you have to fill in these little gaps. And I think when you do that, it's a weird thing because it's like it's yours. Of course, you could fill in the gaps. Like, but at the same time, you feel kind of bad. You're like, well, and then that happened. And, but like, it's not really what happened in your dream. You're kind of, I don't know. It's a strange process.
Well, that's how I came up with kitten kisses.
There you go.
That came out in the dream, and I'm not going to pursue it because it seems stupid, but
See,
it seemed like the best idea at the time.
well, here's the thing too. You're saying that, and like I just said, like I believe into the full capacity. I still think that is a great idea in a sense, and can be a big, not forever type of thing, but I think it could be this fun gimmick that could cause like a phenomenon, and everyone has it and everyone knows about it and that kind of thing. And I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think
and
it kind of goes back to trying new things. It's kind of like, do I want to try and make this app that I've never made an app like that before? Do I want to dive into it? And most importantly, do I want to spend time and commit time? Because, as we get older, we realize that time is of a premium and you only have so much of it. And so it's like, yeah, I can probably spend a good month or two of my life making kitten kisses, but is that time well spent doing something else?
yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's like, and at the same time, like I've had dreams about time, and like what I said earlier, like it's three-dimensional. I subscribe to that more so than what everyone else subscribes to. Like I like to tell myself time isn't real, it doesn't matter, and why even give into it? You know what I mean? Why even in a way, you know what I mean? Why even subscribe to like I don't subscribe to death in a sense. I know you're supposed to, and I know you have to accept it, but in a sense, I don't. In a sense, I like to believe that everything goes on forever, whether it's physical or spiritual. So I try not to ever even think about it. I just try to pretend like it's everything can go on forever. And maybe that's being naive, but I kind of believe there's a trick to that. I feel like if you subscribe to certain things, it's going to like limit your life. That's how I look at it. I don't know how that sounds to you.
Yeah, I can see it. It sounds like you would be more positive. Thinking that. Well, that probably goes down to certain religions where you think that you will live forever in the afterlife. So, while you're here, you don't really. You're just kind of like, yeah, this is cool and all, but it's fine. I'll get to live forever after this. So, and I don't think we live differently, but I think of it differently. But I don't think that changes the way that we both value life while we're here. So whether or not we go on forever in some other existence, or it ends and it feels the same it did the however million of years before you were in existence, either ending, I don't know that we view the value of life any differently.
Well, I also think science is at this point where I think things are going to be able to live longer than ever, possibly forever. And I know there's already been some research where they're thinking that. I remember there was an article maybe 3-4 years ago, and it said the first person to live 1,000 years is alive today. And it could just be a hokey article, but it was interesting they still put it out there.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, you can look at the exponential graph. We are living longer, but if you're just following a curve of exponentials, it's kind of like, I think the oldest living person now is like 115 or something like that.
Yeah, I think someone died actually a lot older, but I think some.
Yeah, no, I think people have lived to like 120 or 121, but I think the oldest living person now is like 150. I thought I just saw something about it, but
yeah.
But you look back, I don't know, 100 years, and I don't have the numbers, but maybe the oldest living or the average lifespan was maybe to 70 or something. This would be 1920. So maybe it's to 70. So from 100 years, you've maybe gone up an average lifespan of 30 years, over 100 years. And even if it's exponential, let's just say in the next 100 years you go up 60 years average lifespan.
But you're not taking into account how fast things could grow. The same thing with technology rate. Like you go back then, technology wasn't growing fast at all, and then boom, it took off like a fireworks. It just kind of exploded. And I think with that, I think we could. I mean, we already uncovered weird things already, like what are they called? Water bears. You know about water bears?
Water bear. I think we talked about them on the show, maybe. Yeah, water bears. Yeah, tardigrades.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked. It might have been on the show with another guest. And then there's jellyfish. That I think they said something about jellyfish. I could be wrong on this. Like they don't die. They just kind of. I don't know the exact wording. It was something weird, like they live really, really long. Like they don't have to die or something, or they rejuvenate themselves and they just reborn themselves constantly. They don't actually die off.
So are you talking about scientific methods to preserve your body from dying? Because that is a big cause of death. Your body, all the cells die. They have timers on them. So there's only a certain number of times.
Reverse it. I'm saying, like, I think we could reverse age. I think a lot of people are obsessed with it already that are alive, and I think I watch documentaries of guys like that are in their 60s and they're obsessed and they're billionaires and they're trying to live forever in a sense.
Dangerous. Could be dangerous.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think the natural world wants you to live forever.
Well, you say dangerous. What do you mean by dangerous? What's dangerous?
Well, I guess everybody living longer. We already have overpopulation in this world. It only keeps getting worse. Nobody has a solution to the problem of overpopulation. And so you're talking about now people living to 200 years, 1,000 years. Like the world's going to be way overpopulated.
See, but I hear that right there. I hear like, oh, I don't think we have overpopulation. I think it's just a negative story that we all buy into. And again, I know people are going to be like, "You're a fucking idiot," but I honestly don't. I don't see it that way. I think we're just not looking at things the right way. Like I think there's so much room here, and if we're smart, we could live better and smarter about it. We don't have to be so disgusting about how we live. But I feel like I don't feel like overpopulation is a thing we actually have right now. I don't know. I never. I just took a drive out to Pittsburgh, and there was so much land, and it was there's all that, and then
Well,
I was grateful for it, but I was also thinking like, why not have sky cities? What's
yeah,
wrong with
no,
that?
no, I don't think the issue is the room for where people will live. I think
Yeah,
it's sustaining that many people with mostly like food. So for as many people as we have, we need to have sustainable food sources that are efficient. And, the more food there is, the more water it takes. If, agriculture has to increase, you're taking up land space for that, in addition to all the places that the people live. And I only know about, kind of some of the spaces in America and stuff. But in
yeah,
other countries, they're already on top of each other. And so
yeah. But
you're spreading out, but then you have to have food for all those people. There's already like destitute countries that are poor and don't have clean water. Like, well, I think we need to take care of those people first.
No, I agree with that. I don't think the politics are in place the right way though with all that. I feel like we have all the technology and all the resources to have way more food and way more clean water. I just think there's not enough action being taken on those things. I think we're wasting money on other things. We're not caring about other people as much. I think we're just focused on more local issues rather than worldly. I just think I think a lot of people who are in power don't care. I think they're like, and that's how it was for a long
Yeah,
time, and they're not changing for that.
unless there's money to be made. If we can
Yeah,
figure out a way that people can make profit on, sustainable farming or, whatever it is, making recyclable goods or, solar power, wind power, sustainable energy, renewable resources, if unless somebody could make a lot of profit on it, there's not much motivation as a large society of people. And so I 100% agree with you that I think people should be doing that. Do I have faith that our society can? Maybe. History doesn't really show us that much.
I think I
But
think we I think we just need a really good leader. I think that's all we really need, like someone that people could actually look up to and believe in, and someone who's not just trying to like stroke his own, you know, stroke himself off and like, haha, yes, it's me. I just think that's the problem. I think because here's an interesting thought. Like any great idea, any fucking breakthrough, amazing idea is going to be like, you're crazy, you're an idiot, impossible. That's how it always is. And then that person goes, inside like, fuck you, I'll show you, fuck you, I'll show you. And then they do it, and everyone's like, whoa, that was amazing. How did you even, I didn't even know. And they're like, yep. And then we moved on from there. And I think that's what always happens. So I feel like that's such an interesting thing that you could have these outrageous ideas that are so groundbreaking, but it's like, if you could have that idea, then it's possible. That's what I think. As long as you have the idea, then it's possible. What do you think on that?
as long as you can have the idea, it's possible.
Yeah, I think as long as you have an idea, and you could, in your head at least, you could figure it out. I think it's possible. No matter how crazy it sounds, no matter if it's feed everybody, give everybody clean water, if it's everyone quadruple their lifespan and still be a good society, a peaceful society. I think all those things are possible.
Yeah, I think it depends on what your resources are, though. Like, so if you're, some homeless guy in LA who's begging for money and comes up with the best idea to, solve world hunger, unless he
Yeah.
has a platform or the resources to be able to rise up to a point where somebody listens to him, it's hard, I think, for somebody like that to.
You just wrote a good Hollywood movie.
I'm sure it's probably been done. But I was thinking like I think Bill Gates, so obviously money for him is not a resource. Or it's not, he doesn't have any issues with money, but he has a lot of charitable foundations, and I think some of his charities do things in third world countries that help people get clean water and all this stuff. So he's doing stuff. He's trying to, at least. Money is not an issue, but still, there's still, third world countries that don't have clean water and stuff. So if Bill Gates has all the money in the world, is it, and he has a pretty big platform. A lot of people know of him. He would probably have a good following. If somebody said, if Bill Gates told you, hey, here's $1 million, can you go to this, city and figure out how to get irrigation into the village or whatever? I doubt that it's a manpower thing where it's like people don't want to do that stuff. So, I don't know. Maybe changing the world just isn't as fast as we would like.
Yeah, it could be. I just feel like there's something in control that's holding it back. That's what it seems like. It definitely seems. Well, I'm just gonna go into what my dream told me. One of the things it told me just last night. It made it seem like we look for evil in darkness, right? Like when we think of evil, we think of darkness, like oh, it's hiding in the dark. But it told me true evil is in the light. It's in the light. It's in the daytime. It's in the joys and happiness of life. It hides in that, and that's how it's protected, so that you don't even think to look there. And what that means to me is like, we live our lives and we think that we're certain. And I'm talking about certain people that they think that this is life and this is happiness, and they don't realize how led they are, and they don't realize that they're falling into these traps. It's almost like there's a puppeteer who's so happy that this is all playing out in the way that it wants, and but there is a way to change it. I know that sounds total schizophrenic, like, okay, weirdo, but to me it makes sense. To me there's something there, and there's a lot more to it in my dream, but I almost don't want to give away too much.
Yeah. Well, it's tricky too because the idea that if you can self-reflect and think, am I in control of my own destiny or in control of my life, or is there anybody pulling my strings? And the answer you would say objectively is, well, no. But then you might look at somebody who grew up in the middle of rural China, and they look at their life, they self-reflect and say, am I in control of my own life? Well, yeah, sure, of course I am.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I have my wife. I have my farm, whatever it is. Meanwhile, my government is oppressing me, but that's the life I grew up in. And so even when I self-reflect and say, is my life good? I say, yeah, my government helps me. My government, lets me do what I like, or tells me what to do or whatever. Like, so even us as, two white males in America kind of thing, we look and say, am I being in control? I don't know if I have the true answer. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, because if
Yeah.
they can look at their life and think it's fine, I can look at mine and think it's fine, but maybe it's like, you
Well,
know,
and that's what I do as, like, I feel like such an outsider that's what I'm always doing. I'm always thinking about that kind of stuff. I'm constantly thinking about it. I'm constantly watching and observing, and I've done it my whole life. And it's kind of what makes me who I am. But it's like, I just feel like, and that's why I write on a lot of my pieces like Sleep Sheep, and I write all these little messages like that, because I feel like people aren't awakened. And I'm not talking about woke. I just feel like people aren't really truly awakened to what's happening, or the power inside themselves. I feel like they're not awakened to that. Like, I feel like so much can be done, if people want to get it done, And like, I know we were talking before the podcast where, like, there's not enough time to do certain things in a day, but it depends on what your priorities are. Like, for me, my priorities is like make X amount of art every day and try to hit goals of what I sell each day. It's a little bit of that, but that's very, very time consuming, especially with social media, like all these different accounts and stuff. but I know what I'm doing. Like I know if before that my life was totally different. I could shoot a film for 3 days, a short film, and that'll take up a lot of time. But I wouldn't be able to create art probably in those days, or maybe a little bit of art really fast. So I think if you figure out your own thing that you want to do, you could do it. I'm probably jumping around there, but I just feel like more things are possible. You just have to escape different things, like escape different traps, like the money trap, the worrying trap, the health traps. There's just so many weird traps you could fall into.
Yeah, well, I was
what's
gonna
that?
say, so I feel like a lot of, maybe not a lot, but more so like people with creative minds or creative thinkers, I think more about that stuff than the average, person in America or even around the world maybe. But so, because I think about the movie They Live, and so
Yeah, I love them. I love that movie. Yeah.
so the idea of, hey, guess what, people, like, you're being sold to every single, like, you love the Super Bowl and its commercials. You're watching advertisements and you're loving it. Like, this is what it's come down to. And
Yeah.
it's like everything, like on Instagram, every 5 pages, it's an ad and it's targeted towards you. And it's like, as long as you're aware of this, you might not get sucked into it. But it also is frustrating as an outside observer, maybe, as people wearing sunglasses, reference to the movie, we're wearing the sunglasses, we can see this stuff, and it's just annoying because it's everywhere in our face. But the people that they're just kind of like, they're not wearing the glasses, they're not aware that they're being sold to every 5 seconds, or everything is in their face telling them to buy this and buy that. Oh, you're not pretty enough, you need this kind of moisturizer, or you need this kind of makeup, and your friends have this but you don't, you better get it. Like, we're aware of that, and I think we think about life a little differently. And I don't know what the world would be like if everybody was wearing the sunglasses. I don't know if it would change things, or that anybody wants to wear the sunglasses.
I mean, I think if everybody was awakened to things like that, we could be closer to actual world peace, and not only that, but we raise ourselves to the next level of humanity, and we could look back at these days and go, that's where we were. Yeah, it was a dark time, and we didn't think there was any way out. But I think you could raise up to the next level. I think that's possible. I don't know. I just hearing you talk about that, it just makes me think a lot of different things. Like, and I'm trying to remember what you were hitting these different points, which were hitting close to me, and I don't ever want anybody thinking I think I'm this like enlightened guy or anything. I don't think that at all. Like, every day is there's good days and there's bad days, and I doubt myself all the time. But I guess I love it when somebody tells me, hey, you inspired me this way or that way. Like, that makes me realize I'm at least doing something. At least I'm pushing in that direction. But
Yeah, you're on the right path.
yeah, I feel like, and that's what's great about movies, and that's why I love making, want to make movies, is like that movie They Live, even though it's kind of a comedy, it's got a wrestler in it. It still has a pretty powerful message that holds up more than a lot of other movies. That's what started the whole Shepard Fairey.
Yeah. Yep.
Which was a huge movement.
Yeah.
I love that artists could do that. I love that art is communicating without you don't even have to understand it at some level, and I think that's what people appreciate it.
Yeah. I was thinking about that basically how we have all this stuff in front of us. I wonder what would happen if the world was hit by like a giant solar flare that fried all electronics. Has this movie been made before? Where
Probably.
basically every single electronic device was gone. Like, no more internet, no more phones, like nothing. Like, how would people cope with that, and how would people live? I feel like that has to have been done before, but like,
it's The Walking Dead. It's The Walking Dead.
Well, you can still have electricity. You just figure out a way to tap into it. But
right.
Is that the big thing that's going to happen that will wake people up and say, well, shit, I can't watch TV after work. What the hell am I gonna do? Read a book? Like, this is stupid.
Well, yeah, I don't think we have to go back there. I think we know I think so many people are smart today, where even if shit went down like that, we'd be able to fix it. I think we could fix things. I think we understand electricity, and not everybody, but I think there's so many smart people on the planet where we could get these people back together. Unless you're talking like, we're down to 80,000 people or something, and
Well, some science fiction thing where an alien hit us with a blast that fries
yeah,
all like electrons don't travel the same way anymore, so you can't. There's no
anymore. Yeah, like
right. So
yeah,
like because that's electricity is just traveling electrons. So if something fried electrons where now they're all static and they don't move, like then you would have like well everything has to be like a combustible engine or something. Like it's maybe that's how steampunk got started. It's the idea.
probably yeah. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like technology isn't really the problem, but it can be. It's like anything. We might have talked about this. TV was the worst thing in the world. Did we ever talk about that on here? How like
Um,
at the time
I'm not sure, but
people used to call it the devil's box and all that, and it was so
yeah,
terrible. And then now that's just like this side thing that people our age really love, and a lot of kids don't even care about it. And
yeah.
that's always shifting and changing, and you could learn so much from anything of technology, or you could destroy yourself with it. I think it's really depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's really just a tool in the end. Yeah, now that you talk about it that way, because it was kind of like, when the radio came out, people would gather around the radio and listen to the stories, and then
I
when
wonder if
TV
anyone
came out,
ever talked bad about the radio. I never heard that. Have you ever? Have you? You
maybe
know?
I'm not letting the devil in my house, because
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
people didn't understand it. Like, how is there a voice coming out of this box? But like TV, like when it first came out, I feel like most of the programs were like news programs to provide entertain or information, and then basically it turned into kind of you can put entertainment on this, and so you would put Howdy Doody or whatever on it, and then like now it kind of evolved into this giant entertainment box, and it's not even attached to like cable. You're basically connected to the internet now, and basically the internet is on your TV, so it just becomes an output for the internet or whatever, and so you have a million and one things, and so but like you said, it's a tool and it depends on how you use it.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. I always look at people on their phones and I wonder what are they doing. Are they working on their phone like I constantly am, or are they just looking at something stupid? Or if I get a chance, I like to see if I could sneak a peek almost. Like I'm like, what's going on over there? If they're really open about it, I'll do that just so I could see what are people looking at. And from what I've noticed, it's nothing bright or intelligent. It's usually the most mind-numbing kind of stuff.
Would you
From
have
what I found.
would you have more respect for someone that was chatting with their boss versus playing on Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I don't mean to judge anybody. Like, I think it's fine if they want to take selfies all day, go for it. But I don't want to be judging. At the same time, I just feel like I don't know. It's strange. It's just eerie to me. Like if I see somebody driving a car and they're posing for pictures,
Yeah, what are
it's
your priorities?
it's just strange. And I do see stuff like that. I do see a car that's going slow, and I'll go around it and go, "What's going on with that?" And I go, "Oh, the guy's just like he's doing something on his phone."
Yeah.
But is he working? I don't. It doesn't look like he was working. It looks like he was doing something not important. You
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Even in working, you shouldn't do while you drive. I mean, not that that's
no, don't ever use your phone when you're driving. I'm a big proponent of that. I can't stand phone use in driving. Not to be hypocritical, it's because one of my big accidents, I was on the phone.
Were you?
Yeah. I was. Oh, that was just talking on the phone. I wasn't actually texting.
Yeah.
So I was.
Do
And
you do you think
this is a flip phone.
do you think if you weren't talking, you would have not gotten the accident?
Probably. It
Hmm.
was a case where the person in front of me slammed on their brakes, and I was following too closely because I was just flowing with traffic and didn't have time to react. But I was on my phone, and so yeah, I attribute the phone to that. And so, you learn from your lessons. And I never use my phone while I'm driving. I can't stand it.
Yeah, sometimes you do feel like, what is this? Like, I'm not really, because sometimes I have to, I'll do something, I'll do something on my phone while I'm driving, not like taking pictures or anything, but I'll, even if it's a conversation, I'll be like, I don't feel like I'm totally know what I'm doing. It's
Yeah.
almost like your autopilot would kick in. I remember driving places where I'd be talking on the phone for like an hour, and like I'd arrive and go, I don't even know how I got there.
Yeah. Yeah. You just you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, I guess I'm here
But
now. And you couldn't remember driving. Yeah. I've had that happen not where I was on my phone, just in general, where
yeah,
like
if
you
you
said,
or if
you're on autopilot. You've been driving a car so long, it just becomes natural.
yeah, maybe you're daydreaming or something, or you're in a deep conversation with someone in the car with you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's bad too.
Yeah. Well, we should
Let them talk and drive.
end it on a positive note. So what's the moral of the day?
The moral of the day is always think there's a good way to go about things. I mean, look at the bright side, I guess. Look at the positive side.
Yep.
Like, there's if you have a great idea, go for it. Don't let anyone stop you. How's that?
Try new things, right?
Try something new. Yeah.
If you're thinking about trying something new, this is the sign you've been looking for. This is it right here.
Do it.
Do what you want to try. Go for it. This is it.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna light a fire under your butt. You're the one that has to do it. So if you're waiting for a sign to try that thing that you wanted to do but you were scared to do it, now's the time. Think up a plan. Start on it tomorrow. Even if it's just planning on the thing you want to do. Start that. Take that first step. What's that quote? The longest journey starts with the first step. Just take that first step.
Yeah. Take the step, and then before you know it, you'll be like, "Wow, look where I got already. Look where I am. I can't believe it. Just a little while ago, it was a thought, and now here it is." I've seen that happen so many times with different projects, and it's like,
Yep.
you just got to go for it.
Oh, you're gonna love it. I can't wait until you're that far into your project and you look back and say, I'm so glad I got started. So what a great positive way to end this cast. I like
Yeah, you wrapped it up good. No, no, no negativity.
That's right.
So I like it. Fun times.
Yeah. So join us next week.
Sounds good. Is that? I guess it's the end.